Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2019. As many of you know, the Oceania International Championship has concluded yesterday, and huge congratulations to Isaiah Williams from Team TDG, who ended up taking first place over everyone else. With the Zapdos list that you have right in front of you now, to nobody's surprise, Lightning completely dominated the meta game. People were really expectant of Pikachu and Zekrom decks, and also Zapdos. Even though Pikachu and Zekrom had the bigger hype behind them, Zapdos is definitely an extremely powerful card, easier to tech against for sure, but I'm really happy that this deck won. It was probably my favorite deck. Before going into the event, I didn't get to go to Oceania this time around, but I probably would have played Zapdos, something different than what won, more similar to the Zapdos Puzzle Nihilego list that also made top 8, top 16 and top 32, but here we are. So Zapdos is a really amazing card. For a single Lightning Energy, Thunderous Assault deals 10 damage, and then if Zapdos was on the bench during this turn and then became your active, you deal 70 more damage. Now the attack isn't affected by weakness, so in Zapdos mirrors you do have to spend an Electropower in order to do that little bit of extra damage so that you can KO opposing Zapdoses, but it's usually not that big a deal. Now we have Jirachi with Stellar Wish to fully support Zapdos. Stellar Wish allows you to take a look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and then Jirachi goes to sleep, and in those top 5 cards you can grab any item card, or any trainer card rather you want, so item, supporter, tool, stadium, whichever you want, and you get to keep it in your hand. So a lot of support for Zapdos, and with all the switching cards that we have 3 switch, 3 escape ropes, and 4 Guzmas. We can't even use multiple Jirachis in a single turn. Now for support we have Oranguru as well with its Instruct ability. We have Absol with the Dark Ambition ability, which increases the retreat cost of a basic Pokemon by 1, as long as Absol is in play. So it's a direct counter to the Jirachi plus Escape Board combination. And then we have the Koko-GX plus Koko Prism Star package. Koko Prism Star, if it's on your bench, Dance of the Ancients allows you to discard, or rather Lost Zone Tapu Koko Prism Star, and then you get 2 Lightning Energy cards from your discard pile and attach them to 2 of your Pokemon. And then Koko-GX can be benched from the hand, never start with it, or get it through Nest Ball. You just want to bench it, and then Arrow Trail absorbs as many Lightning Energy as you want, makes Koko-GX active, and then you can either use Sky High Claws for 130, potentially more with Choice Bands and Electropowers, and Tapu Thunder GX also deals a bunch of damage, 50 for every energy your opponent has in play. So Koko-GX gives you access to a GX attack, gives you access to a more solidly powerful attack than Zapdos, but Zapdos is so quick that it is able to pick up a lot of easy knockouts in the early game, especially with Electropowers and the huge amount of switching cards. Supporters wise, we have 4 Lillie, 4 Guzma, 3 Cynthia, and 3 Professor Kukui. Very solid and very consistent overall. And then items wise, we have 4 Nest Ball and 4 Electropower, probably the best cards to run here. Electropower, you deal extra damage. Nest Ball, you find your other Zapdoses and Jirachis and are able to set up. Or you find Absol in the mirror match. You find Koko Prism Star to pull off the Koko-GX play. You find Oranguru to set up. So really nice use of Nest Ball here. A single Ultra Ball because it's the only way you can get Koko-GX from the deck into your hand. That's one of the weaknesses, I would say, of this list perhaps, is the fact that you don't have more than one way to find the Tapu Koko-GX when you need it, other than just randomly drawing into it, other than the Ultra Ball. So perhaps, I mean, you don't have to use Koko-GX, but it does open up a lot of win conditions that perhaps were not there before. Triple switch and triple escape rope, as I said. Escape rope can be as good as a Guzma sometimes, depending on the situation and how early in the match is and what your opponent's board looks like, but escape rope is an incredible card. And we have triple escape board to combine with Jirachi so that we have free retreat and the sleep special condition doesn't actually matter, and double choice band to increase our damage outputs. Finally, we have Energy Loto. Instead of playing 9 raw Lightning Energy, we have the 1 Energy Loto because Jirachi can grab the Energy Loto, but it can't grab an actual energy. So it's almost like you're playing an energy that Jirachi can grab. Of course it's random, of course it can fail, but that's an okay risk to take because this deck thins out pretty quickly. And finally we have double Shrine to increase the damage against GXs. We don't really mind that it damages our Koko-GX because we won't be using it until the very last part of the game. And then we have a single Thunder Mountain. It's almost as if we're playing extra energy thanks to a Thunder Mountain. Makes the Koko-GX play even easier, and is also an extra counter stadium. So yeah, pretty solid list. Let's take it for a spin on the ladder for a couple of games, see how well we can do with the champion list, and let's see it in action. So yeah, should be a pretty solid ladder games with this deck. Obviously just one. Jirachis are going through the roof in prizes. They are up to $20 each this morning, so I'm very happy I got them for $10 each myself, and we'll see how we end up doing with this list. So we end up losing the coin flip. This is another thing I guess I didn't mention in the deck list. You actually don't mind going second at all with this list. I mean, as long as your hand is decent, you generally don't mind going second with this list because you very likely will be able to pull off an attack or even a KO. So in the Lightning, in the non-GX mirror matches, that's actually super important, and it might even be correct to go second in the Zapdos mirror matches. I mean, it all depends on like what will you promote, what your hand looks like, and you won't know that until after you have played it out, or seen it rather, so you have to pick before. But based on the deck's consistency, it might actually be right to choose to go second in the Zapdos mirror match. Of course, that's something like a regionals. You wouldn't necessarily know if you're playing against Zapdos until the later rounds, after you've like scouted what's being played and whatnot. So that could be difficult. And now we see the Absol immediately by my opponent, obviously trying to stop me from getting a knockout. And I could actually just outright knock out his Zapdos right here, or I have the switch to knock out his Jirachi. So I'm gonna go ahead and Stellar Wish, and definitely grabbing the Lillie here. I'm hoping the Lillie will grab me a Nest Ball for the Zapdos. I feel like KOing Jirachi, based on my opponent's current setup, is gonna be much stronger. Yeah, purely because he doesn't have any solid backup. He only has 2 cards in hand. He used Ericats for 2, which indicates a little bit of weakness from his hand. And so I will go ahead and Lillie. I am able to find double Nest Ball, in fact, which will provide me my own Absol. And I have a feeling my Zapdos could potentially survive. So I'm gonna go ahead and search for a second Jirachi because it's much easier for me to find another Zapdos with double Jirachi than it is going to be for me to find a Jirachi or another draw supporter with his hand with just double Zapdos and Absol. So I am choosing to go Jirachi because of that. There's no way I can be punished for this, and as you can see, my opponent did have a Guzma, so if this was the case, I would be left with a hand of with a field of double Zapdos, double Zapdos and Absol. Now I have a pretty solid hand. Once again, I will grab the escape board, and now I think it's correct to KO the Absol? Or do I just KO the Zapdos? I mean, my opponent's hand is obviously not that great at the moment. That's one of the weaknesses of using Erika's rather than Cynthia. So I have both options. I can either attach energy to the active retreat and KO the active Zapdos with the Electropower, or I can Guzma and KO the Absol. I feel like KOing the attacker is gonna be much more powerful, so I'm gonna go ahead and retreat. I could have used that escape rope. I'd rather save those for now. I have energy to spare, right? And the escape rope helps me in this current situation, and in case my opponent plays a Marshadow or a Judge. So yeah, we see another Erika's. So once again, weakness of playing Erika's is that you're never guaranteed a bunch of cards. So the debate between those is pretty big, and as we can see, my opponent does find a Jirachi for that Erika's, does find an escape rope as well. Hopefully they won't have the combination of cards to get another KO, which will make our lead become bigger. And in order for me to get a knockout here, I need to either attach another energy and retreat, or I need to find an Electropower and then Guzma kill the Absol. That would have been my preferred play. But as you can see, my opponent recognizes that he's just going to be too far behind. I have too many resources in my hand at the moment, and my board is looking much better. Now imagine if I had KO'd the Absol instead of the Zapdos, my opponent might have been able to get another KO right there. We don't necessarily know. So KOing the Zapdos there was definitely better, purely because I had so many ways to switch out that Zapdos, Absol was not really hindering me in any way whatsoever. So let's play another match. I'm really liking the consistency of this list. The one that got top 8, the Zapdos Puzzle Nihilego, it has more options, right? Because it has Baby Puzzle, it has Nihilego, which are really awesome cards. But it only runs 4 Lillie, 4 Guzma, and then 2 Cynthias and 1 Volkner. So overall it runs 4 Lillie and 3 other supporters, so 7. Whereas this list runs 4 Lillie, 3 Cynthia, and 3 Kukui. So it's not the biggest of changes, but it is definitely a bit higher. I would like to go first. Thank you very much. I don't know what I'm up against. It could be Pikachu and Zekrom. I start Jirachi once again, which is obviously the dream. I also have the Koko GX, which is definitely very useful against Pikachu and Zekrom GX decks. And I start we see us a Viper, so this might be some sort of spread deck. This will be some sort of spread deck, I would assume, by my opponent, so I'm gonna do that, So here's like an interesting question. Do I Stellar Wish before the Lillie, hoping to find something like a Nest Ball to keep thinning, or do I Stellar Wish after the Lillie? I feel like after the Lillie is correct, because I don't need anything in particular. Now I do need, like now based on the fact that I've drawn all the cards I possibly can, now I have some inkling of what I might need, such as a draw supporter for next turn, the Guzma to chase down a potential threat. So this is looking decent, but even though we have 9 cards in our hand, it's actually not great. Now the sleep flips don't actually matter, which is cool. You should still flip though when playing in real life, because you don't want to be field lowered from your escape board and then be stuck with an active Jirachi that you could have retreated, and like generally you shouldn't, or you can't not flip for sleep. Yeah, so always flip, guys. Okay, so my opponent does attack into my Jirachi, and the Viper makes this so that Jirachi will go down if I don't save it here. So I do find an Electropower I think KOing the Viper is good, right? And attaching another energy to the Zapdos, which seems good. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Getting a prize card, never a bad idea, and then I'm setting up the Koko-GX to potentially deal with the Shuckle next turn, although it does have the Choice Helmet and the Ether Paranite. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this. The energy on my Zapdos should be, right, should be safe. And so I will Thunderous Assault for the knockout, decrease my opponent's damage potential, by increasing mine, and then probably won't have knockout on Koko-GX next turn, but we'll see what happens. Ooh, the random card from Mars hits the Oranguru. That's not terrible. That is definitely not terrible. We see a Crushing Hammer heads flip. Now that is super annoying, and so is the Field Blower. So Shuckle could be a direct-ish counter to Zapdos decks, but definitely very weak against other sort of decks. Okay, so Shuckle is now my opponent's only Pokemon in play. I'm gonna go ahead and switch here. I'll probably end up retreating to the Koko Prism Star. I will, however, Stellar Wish. Cynthia seems solid-ish. I really wish I was finding stadiums here, though. Yeah, I actually don't think I can shuffle away these resources because Koko-GX is going to be my best bet probably at getting an attack off against this guy. Well, I could just go for another Jirachi, right? I'm not gonna attack. My Zapdos is not going to get KO'd. So what I can do is just go out into another Jirachi here and then Stellar Wish again. Basically, I'm looking for Stadium and a combination of Kukui and other other damage modifiers so that I can power up Koko-GX and get a knockout on the Shuckle. So for now, it's fine. We're hoping the Shrine of Punishment will stick here. We see a Crushing Hammer. That's fine because we have Koko Prism Star. The key card is the Shrine. We need the Shrine to stick. Oh my gosh. The Koko-GX gets discarded, but that's fine because we have the Dull Stretcher right here. Choice Helmet reduces by 30. So we have a chance to get a knockout. That Mars is super annoying though, super annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see another Field Blower. Wow, and just having all the cards in his hand. Double Field Blower, double Crushing Hammer, heads flips. This is looking a bit dicey here for us. Okay, so gonna go ahead and play the Energy Loto. I do grab an energy, which is great. And then I will go ahead. I want to use up the switch, I think. Even if I don't get a KO here, it's fine. I think I'm gonna fail this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 160 damage, so Trash Challenge will definitely be able to KO me. Right? Okay, so do I go for it? That is the question. Do I go for the Koko-GX play? Right now I'm dealing 130 damage, so I need one Electropower, which doesn't seem too unlikely, right? Doesn't seem too unlikely. Now there's enough items to where I shouldn't care about the Trash Challenge. Like, well, by shouldn't care I mean there's nothing I can do about it. So I will bench this guy. I will go ahead and use Dance of the Ancients, get 2 energy on there, and then I will play the Koko-GX down. I will absorb this one, and then 2 from here. That promotes the Koko, so I don't need another switching card. I will choice band and then I will instruct first. I'm looking for one Electropower. That is all I need. I will go ahead and play that, and then I will Lillie for 5. And I do find the Electropower, which is awesome. I also find another Nest Ball for a potential Zapdos. And my opponent needs exactly Trash Avalanche, and my opponent needs exactly that 10 damage from the previous Shrine was so huge. My opponent needs exactly Trash Avalanche plus Psychic to respond, which, given how he's always had the Field Blower, the Crushing Hammers, the Double Mars, I would not be surprised if he already has it. Yep. And there's a Cynthia, so missing the Psychic, understandably so. We see another Shuckle, we see the Psychic, oh jeez. We do see the Psychic. So Koko-GX goes down, not the end of the world, but definitely annoying. But my opponent has been finding the exact cards to punish our plays. I have 2 Electropowers left, so I'm hoping to find one here so that I can then Kukui. So I can then use Professor Kukui to get a KO on this Carburetor. No, I misclicked. Oh my gosh, I misclicked. I misclicked the Jirachi. Now I can't get knockout. I mean, so I should just attack, right? 2-hit killing the Garb is not that big a deal. That was silly though. Hopefully this Shrine can stick. That was a bit silly. That was definitely a bit silly. I could have retreated into Jirachi, used Stelbridge again, and then you switch plus Kukui to get a knockout. We see the Absol as well, so oh my gosh, and a Mars creating a Guzma. What the heck is this deck? And that's 3 out of 3 heads. Oh wow. That is 3 out of 3 heads. This is getting to a ridiculous point. Okay, the energy definitely useful here. Let's grab a Cynthia, because we might just need to find the raw Electropowers, and then I will Thunder's Assault. I get another knockout. Definitely never gonna be able to damage. Definitely never going to be able to damage that Shuckle. Thankfully, I still have a nice amount of Guzmas left, 2 of them, and Escape Rope. So Escape Rope is gonna be the key card here. That's the 4th Mars my opponent has been able to use here. Oh my gosh, that's the 3rd Field Blower. What even is this? This is such a counter deck to this. Okay. I mean, should I attach to the active? It's just, it's so risky though. And it's so risky to try and get a knockout when I don't have guaranteed knockout. So I'm gonna Cynthia, and I do find a combination of Escape Rope plus Electropower, which is definitely what we were trying to get. That is a pretty solid combination. My opponent actually promotes the Absol, which probably doesn't matter at this point anymore, purely because I believe we're out of Escape Boards. Yes, we are out of Escape Boards, we are out of switches, we have 2 Guzmas left, and we have 2 Escape Ropes left. We see Abalomeria, super annoying. We do have Thunder Mountain, which is nice. So Escape Rope wins us the game. Escape Board plus our last Electropower wins us the game here. Or Escape Board plus Kukui, actually. That was a pretty solid top deck. That was a pretty lucky top deck, not gonna lie. Not going to lie. Super annoying deck by my opponent. It is an attempt at hard countering decks such as Zapdos, but unfortunately for my opponent, this deck had all the right tool cards to barely make it past. Yeah, barely make it past. So yeah, guys, 2 solid wins. We saw a mirror match, which after this deck has won the international championship, you can expect a lot of that in your upcoming tournament. And we saw the deck beat a deck that is really trying hard to counter this deck. So really nice way to showcase the deck. I think it's extremely solid. Once again, huge congrats to Isaiah Williams. He's a really cool guy for those of you who don't know him, and I'm sure he'll be at Collinsville regionals because the grind never ends, right? So yeah, guys, that will be all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel, and leave any comments down below, and I will see you guys tomorrow for more TCG action. Have a nice day, and bye bye.